The summer of women who kick ass continues with Atomic Blonde, and it stars Charlize Theron, James McAvoy, Sophia Boutella, John Goodman, and Toby Jones. And it's a late 80s set spy film, and it's set in Berlin right before the fall of the wall. And people keep comparing Atomic Blonde to James Bond, and I want them to stop because this is better than the last however many James Bonds. It was really enjoyable. Charlize Theron is 41, and she did most of her own stunts for this, and she was amazing. It was ridiculous. The action in this thing is brutal. So for the past however many years during Comic-Con in Hall H, there's this panel on Saturdays called Women Who Kick Ass, and it's one of my favorite panels every year because basically they make all the fanboys sit through it because it's like after Warner Brothers and DC and before Marvel. So I'm like, yes, this is a lesson in women in film that you all have to sit through. And so this year they had a special Icons edition with Charlize Theron. And I was like, oh man, that's a bummer because part of my favorite part of that is the conversation between these women. Mm-hmm. No, I was so wrong. She was amazing because she was talking about how she produced on Atomic Blonde. She obviously stars in Atomic Blonde. She was looking for a project. And then they showed a clip, one of the fights from Atomic Blonde. And Hall H at Comic-Con holds 6,500 people. So that's bigger than any movie theater I've ever been to. Mm-hmm. And you just heard the air go out of the room and every punch was landing and there's like no music during this sequence. So everything was just so heightened. And I was just like, I have to see this movie. I have to see this movie. I cannot wait to see this movie. So I finally saw the movie. It totally lived up to that sort of intense level. It was awesome. So I love that she talked about how they paid attention in Atomic Blonde to making sure that her fighting style would make sense for a woman because it's less about throwing punches and more about throwing your whole body weight around and just things they like paid attention, right? Because you have to, it's not that women aren't good fighters. We use different techniques. Yeah. And so again, I thought having Charlize Theron at the helm of this or paying so much attention to it really made it that much more genuine, if you can call a spy flick like that genuine.
Well, they say, because I took self-defense, that the best thing you can do is drop to the ground and use your legs because all of women's power is in their thighs.
Yes, there's a lot of kicking. There's also a lot of nut punching. I'm not going to lie.
I was
just
gonna
because
say, that's the move.
Because most of her opponents, all of her opponents pretty much were men. And so I was just like, yeah, she just went for where it hurts. And
so that was like her Street Fighter finishing
pretty much,
move?
that was her finish him. But the other thing I loved about Atomic Blonde is it's one of those movies where I feel like in most action movies, people get the living daylights beat out of them and then they walk away fine, right?
Yep.
No, they were ragged. They were beat. They were exhausted. There's one really, really long fight sequence and you just see them like sweating and like panting towards the end and can't even like lift themselves up, but they're still fighting. I was like, this is the type of movie I like to see just because I feel like there's like that realistic-ish, I say realistic as if I've been in a fight like that where my life depends on it and I've been fighting like 6 super spies. Yeah. But if, I could imagine it. So I appreciated that. The soundtrack is amazing because it's that late 80s, like a little punk, actually a lot punk, rock and roll, David Bowie, all this great stuff. So I think it might actually be my favorite soundtrack of the summer, which compared to Baby Driver is saying a lot because Baby Driver was also great.
Yes.
So we're getting a lot of really good soundtracks. And I'd be lying if I didn't say the middle of Atomic Blonde drags a little bit just because it's a lot of plot, it's all about crosses and double crosses because it's in the spy world. And at a certain point, I just was a little confused, honestly. And at the very end, they had this scene and I was like, why do we need this scene? And I went, oh, this explained a lot of stuff. Like I thought the film had ended and then there was they cut to another scene. I was like, what's going on here? And then it explains even more and you just go, okay, I guess this has been set up along the way. Also, I have to say, don't watch the trailer because I was watching the trailer this morning and the voiceover spoils a bunch of stuff. So just don't watch the trailer.
Okay.
Just go see the movie. I know that's very bizarre, but do that. Because I really enjoyed the movie. I think everyone should go see the movie. It's not perfect, but it was a super enjoyable action film. It's very rated R, so this is not for children. Atomic Blonde definitely sets up a series, so I really hope we see more of these. So I'm going to give it 3.9 out of 5.
Yes. All right, awesome. I'm going to see it this weekend.
Are there going to be 17 of these?
I'd be okay with that. I hope Charlize Theron does it too. Like, I hope she's still playing this character when she's 70.
If you can make 35 James Bonds, we can have 17 Atomic Blondes,
Yeah.
dude.
We should get 35 Atomic Blondes in that scenario.
Yeah.
I want 1-to-1 at this point.